Hey everyone, thank you for joining us. My name's Ronnie. I'm actually the moderator. It said on the screen that Eric was, but they rug pulled you. Anyways, nice to be here with you, Eric. You are the president and COO of Crypto.com, right? You want to tell us a little bit about your experience at Crypto.com? How did you get into crypto? What's your background?
Of course, thanks for having me. First of all, I'm super thrilled to be back in Korea for my second time at Korean Blockchain Week. It's always a great event, so many people, so many great speakers, learned a lot from those. I joined Crypto.com about 6 years ago now when we were just started. We didn't have product yet, and we were just building our Crypto.com Visa account. I was into the space more on a personal basis, just by interest, a few years before. I think what got me in was really the Bitcoin white paper. It's a classic. I loved not only the technology that powered it, but also the game theory that makes this stuff works. You know, how to keep the bad actors out and make it work at scale. So that was really the entry point. I went to meetups, talked to people. I was in my previous company a bit the annoying Bitcoin guy that talks about Bitcoin all the time.
Same.
Yeah, it happened. And then I joined Crypto.com, and the rest is history. And it's been an amazing journey so far, but still a lot to be done.
And how would you say your experiences, like you've worked at some pretty large companies, and obviously Crypto.com is one of the largest companies in the crypto space. So how would you say your experience has prepared you for your position at Crypto.com?
So I started a little bit in the traditional side of things, in the banking and consulting world. I think it really gave me the foundation around how the finance world works, what is regulation, how to interact with government stakeholders, with regulators. I think that foundation was extremely helpful. And I think consulting gives you a bit of that problem-solving mindset, which I think you can bring to any industry. The last 10 years I've been in tech. So I started with PayPal in the fintech world, and then moved to e-commerce tech, and back to fintech, if we can say, with Crypto.com. I think I really enjoy building product for millions of users and having that direct interaction with consumer. Each time we'll release a feature, even when we had like 10,000 people, 100,000 users on the platform, getting that feedback, learning from it, interacting with customers. I think I really enjoy that, and that's why I continue my career in tech. And getting to scale is just amazing how much value you can bring to people.
Amazing. So yeah, it all kind of converged here, right? A little bit of consulting, a little bit of regulatory work, a little bit of fintech, and it all came together to become what is Crypto.com, which is really cool. One of my favorite brands in the space, personally. So this is not your first time in Korea, right? Obviously, you were here last year. Had pretty big announcement. You guys acquired a license to operate in South Korea, which was really important news at the time. So it's been about a year now. Can you tell us a little bit about the development since then, how everything's been going in Korea for you guys?
So last year we acquired 2 licenses. First one that allows us to do crypto services, the VASP registration, and then one license for payment, the FTA registration. Since the last 12 months, I think a few things happened in our industry, and we've been working relentlessly to restore trust and confidence, not only in Korea, but across the globe. That has been a big focus for us to make sure we can build on the right foundation going forward. But those market conditions that have been challenging did not deter us to make progress here in Korea. And we've been partnering, especially on the Web3 side, with a lot of gaming, content-producing company, entertainment companies that have amazing IP, and we're helping them bring them to Web3 and bring them to the world, to our 80 million user base. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, you guys, if I'm not mistaken, have a partnership with Samsung, right? Obviously the largest brand in Korea. So like you doing some real stuff in the community here, and like how do you read the trends of the community? How do you feel like South Korea is perceiving Crypto.com thus far?
South Korea is a very sophisticated market. They have extremely tech-savvy consumers, and crypto is already quite entrenched and known. We've had extremely positive reception with a lot of brands here. I think Samsung is a great example. It's a very established brands and decided to work with us to provide seamless experience on their new phone, the Z Fold, for the Cryptocom app was a very strong signal that we're a brand that we can associate ourselves in Korea and in the rest of the world. We also work with a very interesting production studio like A Story. So I don't know if you guys watched Netflix and this very famous show, Extraordinary Attorney Woo. It was globally popular. So we worked with the team, created a collection. Some went back to charity as well. It was great collaboration. We also work with Studio Dragon, which is very popular here, a storyteller, and work with a few collections with them on our NFT marketplace that was sold out. So it's great collaboration. There's a lot more to do in Korea, so much content, but there's also a lot of talent. And I was just here a month ago. We did the first public-private hackathon, a Web3 festival with the city of Seoul and Mayor Ho to bring together new talent to build on top of the blockchain, and in particular the Chronos blockchain, which is a top 10 blockchain today.
Of course, yeah. Chronos is really exciting right now. I think there was just an article published just a couple hours ago about a new $100 million accelerator fund, right? Which was really exciting. And I think you guys have one of the hottest games in the industry right now, Loaded Lions. And can you tell us a little bit about how that all came to be and what the activities going on over there?
Sure. I think for us, Crypto.com, we feel we have a responsibility to help the industry grow. And not only by building that bridge between traditional fiat money and digital assets, we are known to be that place where people can bring money in and out, enter the space, keep their money safely. But also by building directly natively on the blockchain. Over the last 4 or 5 years, we've contributed to a lot of projects, source code, engineers, to build that infrastructure. We also develop SDKs, APIs, so developers can build very easily on top of blockchain. So that's really an important aspect of what we do. But not only building the infrastructure, but also building some experiments on top of it to showcase that things can be done. And over the last year or so, we developed our own IP and PFP collection, Loaded Lions. And just a week ago, we launched a first game with utility for those PFPs and land that were distributed earlier this year. And we were amazed by the early success of the project. It's very strong support thanks to our community. Just in 2 days, it became the top 5 game globally across all protocol. And so the game is called Main City, and people can build their own mansion and businesses and grow and get assets in game and then take full ownership of those assets, which is really the empowering players in the game, and that's the value that Web3 brings. You have control over your assets, your data, your identity, and whatever effort you put, you get the fruits of that contribution. And you can take it out of the game, use it elsewhere, and grow it. So that's really empowering users and a big core to what Web3 has to offer. I was getting some stats from the team. I think since we launched, it's about 50,000 hours played in the game since last week. There's 70 million items in game that were acquired by users. It's just incredible. And we'll see how we can scale it and take it from there. It's just an experiment, but it's growing quite nicely.
That's super exciting. So much activity in such a short period of time. And I mean, South Korea, people that I'm talking to this week, it seems like there's a lot of interest in gaming here, a lot of developers focusing on gaming. So really exciting to have you here to talk about that and in South Korea, and to see that Chronos is starting to thrive, and Loaded Lions is starting to make a name for itself as one of the top games to watch in the industry. I want to move on to bit more of a serious topic, actually our topic, which is about regulation. So I think Crypto.com is probably one of the global leaders when it comes to regulatory things, getting licenses. I didn't count it. I don't know. I didn't do a tally, but I think you guys must have a ton of licenses all over, maybe even the most amount of licenses of all crypto exchanges in the world. Can you tell me a little bit about like your role in shaping regulation in crypto, sort of like, I guess through the lens of Crypto.com, but then from a more of a like an objective perspective. Let's start specifically like in the Asian region. Would love to understand like how you perceive all that.
I think all businesses that are trying to build, especially those interfaces between traditional assets and digital assets, are looking for clarity across the world. In each market, they try to bring value to on the regulatory framework. And of course, that has been quite varied across the world and over time. Asia, I think we had quite a lot of interesting markets like Singapore. That was one of the pioneers with South Korea in providing a clear framework. So as a business, you know what to expect, you can apply, you can get a license, and then you can offer services in a way that has some oversight from the regulators and gives some peace of mind to consumers. So you had some of these pioneer markets that started with an early framework dedicated to crypto, so what we call fit for purpose, which I think is what we prefer because it's more adapted to the technology that we are providing. Some markets did not yet offer it or waited until last year and started to offer new frameworks now, and regulators shaping this new environment. And some are using existing frameworks, more payment rails type of framework. In the US, you can use MTLs, for example, today. So depending on the market that you're playing is, you'll have some fit-for-purpose regulation, sometimes started 3-4 years ago, sometimes just launched last year or this year even. And then other markets that are still looking to make new regulation and are leveraging existing frameworks. In all cases, I mean, we work very closely with all the regulators. We're registered or licensed in all the tier 1 markets, whether it's US, it's Canada, it's Europe. And within Europe, today you still have to go market by market. It's France, it's Italy, it's Spain, it's Netherlands. And in Asia, Singapore, of course, South Korea, Australia, and a few more markets. Constant engagement, especially since last year, because regulators really wanted to strengthen a bit consumer protection and protect also the market and its integrity. So there's been a lot of engagement, bilateral from Cryptocom directly to regulators, as well as through industry association that we contribute to provide feedback on consultation papers and make sure we strengthen in the right way. We enable the objectives of regulators and stakeholders, but we let the business grow and innovate because we're still early stage in that journey.
Really exciting. You know, one topic that I've been talking to a lot of people about this week has been Hong Kong. And I know that you were around Hong Kong a little bit. I know that there's some activity. How do you see this new development? It seems like there's a lot of projects that are either deciding to build out in Hong Kong from inception or make their way back to Hong Kong. So it seems like the Hong Kong government is really incentivizing projects right now to come back and to open up the crypto landscape again there. Why do you think that's happening? And do you think that's a real trend that's long-term sustainable, or is that just like a buzzy thing for the moment?
Hong Kong is a very important financial center, and in the early days of the cryptocurrency industry, there was a lot of companies out there. It was a big hub. You know, during a little bit pre-COVID and during COVID, I think the excitement was reduced and there was less interest in the space. But over the last 6 months, I think we've seen extremely positive signs from the regulators, from the government, trying to bring business back, especially on the Web3 sector. And one way to do that is to provide a regulatory framework that people can apply and can safely participate in. And that's what the regulators has done in Hong Kong, and we've been engaging with the regulator on that topic, and we'll continue to do so. I think it's great to see a financial center like Hong Kong embracing the technology and providing better clarity and incentive for people to participate and join the industry. We have a lot of great teams in Hong Kong, and it's still an important place for us.
And just educate me in the crowd for a bit. Is Hong Kong one of those places that are they going based off existing regulations, or is it being reshaped as we speak currently? Is it dynamic?
It's a new framework specific for cryptocurrency. Of course, it's inspired by traditional frameworks, but it's a fit for purpose, which is always something that we prefer, because there's some nuances in the technology that differs it from traditional assets, and we want that to be taken into consideration, especially around custody, around movement of assets, monitoring of assets is a lot more complex, and there's some limitation also. We have a bit more transparency on the blockchain, but it's also a bit newer, so not all the tools are there. So it's important for regulators to understand the maturity of the industry and provide a framework that allows it to grow and become stronger over time.
Nice. I want to ask you a bit about Crypto.com's growth strategy. You guys, I think, have more than 80 million users these days. Only 7 years. That's pretty extreme growth. And I think that requires a really coordinated, strong effort by some very talented individuals. So can you give us some insights into how you guys managed to put that all together?
I think it starts first with having a clear vision, what you want to achieve. So for us, the goal is really to bring cryptocurrency to every wallet, which means mainstreaming the technology, introducing it to a lot of people globally, 3-4 billion users. That's our goal today. And we have clarity of purpose and vision on this front. Then you need to build amazing products that people want to try, and they're already having different habits and tools, so you need to find great product, great incentives for people to change their behavior and start experimenting with that new technology. And our first product was the Cryptocom Visa card that enables people to spend their crypto, 80 million merchants, wherever Visa is accepted. And that was a great product to bring people into the industry. They're familiar with the card business, and they're like, okay, let me try this product. It looks amazing. That's great incentives. Let me try it out. Oh, I'm starting to get rewards in crypto. What is this? And learning more, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and getting into the space. So to get people in, and mainstreaming the space, that was a very exciting entry product, which we scaled. Started in Singapore. That was our first market. Grew into Asia, launched across Europe, UK, launched in the US, in Canada, in Australia, and in Brazil. And today, it's the biggest crypto card program in the world. And it puts there's a lot of efforts to build, scale, and maintain the card program at scale like this, but we feel it helps the industry move forward. And then we continued. People had a way to spend their crypto, but they wanted to get in. So we built this connectivity with all the banking rails across the world for people to go in and out freely. That was a tremendous effort, because banking relationship is still tough for the industry players. And getting all this in place and making sure it's stable for our customers and they feel safe, I think it required a lot of people involvement and building those relationships over time, but it pays off because it gives you that global access that no one else can provide today. And then you have to continue to innovate. This year, even if it's still the bear market, we launched new products that we feel are helpful for customers in those market conditions. How to hedge myself when the market goes short. If the price goes down, can I protect myself? So we launched Up-Down in the US. We're the first to bring a regulated CFTC derivative product to retail in the US. And it's very strong traction. We're trying to scale this globally. We launched also staking. Great to get yields when markets are a bit volatile. At least you get some certainty and you can grow your asset without taking trading risk. Also growing very rapidly, and we're continuing to scale this. So that's on the product front. So clear vision, amazing products. And then you need to get your name out there. And it's not that easy to create a brand. It takes decades. But we really started to accelerate in 2021. And you probably have seen some of the brand sponsorship and partnership that we've done.
Just a couple.
A few of those. I think the major one, like Formula One, UFC, and the renaming of the Staples Center into Cryptocom Arena were very iconic. I do feel they helped the industry overall, but of course helped Crypto.com as well. We looked for a partner that had high standard, that shared value in terms of innovation, technology, relentlessness, braveness to go into that space, to be a pioneer. So we looked for alignment, reputation of partners, and how it could help us mainstream the company and the sector overall. And the last 2 years, we've been working very hard to activate those partnerships in different, at events, outside, on social channels, to really make them live and make them relevant for the fans of those brands and sports. And that's where you get the real value. Tremendous effort from the team that really helped us get the name out there. Today, when we do brand awareness studies in the world, we often are the top 1 brands thanks to that. And it's very hard to get that in a short period of time. So really kudos to the team that has built that over the years, combined with great products and clear vision.
So it all culminates and comes together, right? It's like this balance of like as an entity, you only have so much energy you can focus on. You have to silo them into particular things, right? You have to decide, all right, we're going to give this much effort to regulation and this much effort to product innovation and this much effort to marketing. So it's like balancing all that is a real challenge, right? And like, is that something that you guys internally are like thinking about often and sort of changing, or like, did you guys pick? You had your vision in the beginning and you've stuck with it, or are you guys dynamic with that? Are you guys like based off market conditions, based off regulatory environments? Are you guys constantly tweaking your approach?
One thing that hasn't changed is our foundation of compliance and security. That's how we build the business. And back in the days when it was even hard to get a meeting with Visa, in 2016. But to launch our first product, we had to do a Big 4 audit on our AML KYC process and implement the recommendation of the audit before we could even get the product to market. Usually you have a year to remediate all this stuff. So we had to level up our standards and make sure the foundation of the business was extremely high, sometimes even higher than the banking standard, for us to be able to build and bring these products and grow the sector. So that foundation has not changed, and you can see in our engagement with regulators, the licenses that we have, and how we operate those licenses. Because getting a license is one thing. Being able to pass the audit, the inspections that comes afterwards, living it through the reporting requirement, etc., is the hard part. And we've been having those licenses for quite a while, a few years already. So we're able to follow through, which is quite important. And I think you look at what happened in 2022, the importance of that foundation, security and compliance, is even more relevant today. And having a place that people can trust because people are doing things in the right way is even more important today. So there's no change in strategy on this front. This foundation is there to stay, and that's where we invested. And it will bring tremendous value to the business. But it's tough because doing the right thing is costly. Running large compliance program, getting licensing, operating licenses is very expensive. It also hurts your conversion funnel. It's easier to acquire users without KYC than going through KYC, right?
Absolutely.
And it's a 10x factor. So you have to make that conscious decision as a business that you're building something for the next several decades, and you want to do it the right way from the onset. And of course, that has a cost that you need to be willing to take.
Yeah, you guys have definitely been playing the long game. I mean, not to name names, but there have been some other rival exchanges that blew up pretty quickly and then actually blew up, right? And like they took some shortcuts, they got into the fast lane, and you see what happens. But I think especially when it comes to your money, your personal finances, you want to associate with brands that you can trust, brands that have values they uphold, and if that means that all right, they're not going to be the most exciting brand for a bit and they're going to be a little boring, so be it. I think if you're a responsible individual who really cares about not losing your money, you would think to yourself, okay, I would want to give it to the most boring entity that's just going to follow the rules, right? Yeah, I want to make returns and I want to get access to the quickest coins and whatever, but I think like it would be important also that you know that you're associating yourself with an exchange that really vets the partners and the products that they onboard, and you know, the options that they list for their customers. So those are things that you really need to be careful about. And I think it's, you know, it's the way I perceive it. You mentioned up downs before, which I found to be a really fascinating breakthrough that I don't think was talked about enough in the media. We all know how hard it is to deal with the U.S. federal government in terms of getting any sort of guidance on regulations, right? And you guys managed to become the first exchange to do something really amazing. If it was options, or it was options, right? Not derivatives. So can you give us a bit of insight into like how, you know, what that process was like? Did you have to deal state by state, or did you just deal directly with the federal? And like, how did that all come together?
I think you don't have to be boring to do things the right way, and hopefully, you know, we've brought some excitement to the industry.
I didn't mean to knock your brand. You're not boring, right? You guys definitely stirred some controversy.
You look at the traditional sector. I mean, when you want to portray trust and security, you have those, you know, ads, and you know, we are blue as well, blue collar, and everything, you know, is great. It's important to convey that, but we're also a pioneer. And this is a fast evolving industry. We want to bring contribution to it. We want to launch things that are innovative. We want to do things differently to, you know, elevate the space. But it's, you know, there are constraints on what we can do for sure if you want to do things the right way. I mean, in the US, we've been having over the years a very strong relationship, in particular with the CFTC, which is the regulators for derivatives in the US. We've have acquired about 2 years ago a historical platform that worked with the CFTC for 20 years, and a very strong relationship, a company called Nadex, now called Cryptocom North America Derivatives. So we had already some existing relationship and track record, and then we try to bring it in a way that is a little bit more mainstream, easier for retail to access, but still being clear on the risk that you take when you go in, provide all the right information so people can actually make good use of the positive and the negative of the products. So bringing that clarity and engaging regularly with the regulator on what we're going to do, how it's going to work, I think is super important. We also have some of our team, from our legal team, some senior folks join working groups from the CFTC, which is one of the first to have crypto players joining some of these working groups. I think that helps, so we can provide input and feedback, and we try to do it constructively. There's already working frameworks in the US in the derivatives. There's way to enhance them. There's way to work with them. So we want to do it, you know, together with the regulator and bring innovation together with the regulator. It's not that easy to do in a lot of markets, but I think we've managed to do it in the US, and we'll continue to bring more exciting products around that framework, and that brings a lot of value for consumers, especially in tough market conditions.
Amazing. So it's, you know, it's about transparency and positive engagement, and let's be partners. Let's work together on this to serve the greater good, to serve humanity, to serve the citizens and whatnot. And I think it's a very valuable approach. We are technically out of time, but I want to ask you one last question. Can you tell us, like, what is the most exciting thing you're looking forward to from Crypto.com for the rest of 2023?
There's so many exciting things coming up, and some I cannot mention, unfortunately. But this year, we're still in the bear market. We want to double down on derivatives options for our customers, because it gives them the ability to hedge whatever happens in the market. It's only in the US for now. We want to make that more global. We want to bring more assets, more products. So we're going to spend some time on that, and it's super exciting. Of course, staking is super big for us. We're seeing tremendous traction. It's a lot of great value for us to provide that to customers. We're seeing the traction, again, scaling it. Main City, I have to mention it. It's an amazing game. I encourage everybody to go and try it. But more broadly, pushing Web3 use cases. Today, we have about 500 million users in the industry globally. You know, what can we do to bring it to 1 billion? Having some great yield products and derivative trading products is going to be part of it. but you also want some of those new Web3 use cases to get to scale. Gaming, social networks. We want to be an accelerator. We want to bring life to that use case. And even if it's a big gaming studio that launched something, we have been developing the frameworks, the tools for them to do so. We have experimented with our own experiments on gaming. So we want to be the catalyst for the next 500 million users that will come to the industry.
Thank you so much, Eric. I really appreciate your time. Crowd, thank you for listening to us. That's our time, and we'll be around. So thank you. Take care.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, Mr. Levi.